Drafting is one of the most common formats for Magic the Gathering to be played in, but many players don't know how it's done, with events on Arena costing a lot of gold for new players, and most players not knowing that Friday Night Magic exists when they're new to the game. A lot of people don't get the experience of drafting and never learn how to play. That's why in this video I'll be teaching everybody how to draft. I won't be teaching you a lot about like the strategy of how to build your deck, but how to get the cards and how to join a table and those things. When you head down to your LGS, you'll buy 3 packs for $15 to $30 depending on the set. Usually for standard sets it's $15. These packs are draft boosters, 15 cards in each pack. After receiving your packs, you will join the event using the MTG Companion app. You can also have your local game store enter you manually. When you do this, make sure you get the code from the game store and don't just type something random in. After you type it in, you'll be assigned a table. Once everybody has joined using the code or been entered manually, tables will be assigned. Usually tables have 8 people and are numbered. In a group of 8, you'll usually have 1 table, and in a group of 16, you'll have 2. With these 16 people, we've got 2 tables, and all of the positions are pre-assigned. Find yourself, and then sit in that spot. Now the event really begins, and this is where the fun happens. Set 2 of your packs aside and open up the first one. It doesn't matter how you choose to open them or like how you look through the cards or anything, just open up the pack. Most places will have you set the token aside and a basic land aside. Some places let you leave the land and the token in though. Look through the cards in the pack, especially focusing on the rare for this first pack. Uncommons are also very important in draft, as every archetype will have a signpost uncommon, and that's what you're really looking for. After checking every card in the pack, choose which one you like best. Usually this will be a rare or uncommon, but sometimes there are really good commons in a set. In this case, I'm picking Arwen Undomiel, who is the signpost uncommon for the blue-green Scry archetype in Lord of the Rings. Before attending a draft, you should probably look up the archetypes for the set you're planning to draft. This is a chart for all of the Lord of the Rings ones, but every set has one of these. This will give you a good idea for what you can expect to go against and what you can expect to be looking for. Find an archetype that suits your style. While you're drafting, make sure you don't play something unfun. The whole reason is to have fun. Once you've picked your card, pass your pack to the left and accept the pack from the person to your right. They will have taken 1 card out of this. In this case, it looks like they took the rare. Once again, you'll want to look through all the cards and find a card that goes with the first card you took. This early in the draft, there's still time to change what you want to take, but in a lot of cases, it's better to just stick to one thing. This pack was pretty hard because there wasn't really a lot of anything that went with my Arwen that I took. But I really like the blue-green Elven Scry mechanic, and I don't really love any of the other archetypes for draft. So I passed up these uncommons, which both are very good if you like the cards, and decided to take a common that goes with my Scry theme. Once again, pass to the left and accept the pack from your right. Look through it again, and you'll find a card that you like, or maybe not. You have 3 packs, and you only need 40 cards in your deck. You should get 45 cards total, assuming you're playing a normal draft with 15 card packs. This means that you can have a bunch of extra cards, especially because you need lands in your deck too, and you'll get those later. Continue to try to stick to your theme, as much as possible at least. Sometimes you pick something that someone else picked to play, and then you're not going to get a lot of good cards. That's probably a time that you should probably switch. Also, there's a chance that somebody else is taking blue cards and somebody else is taking green cards, and then you can't take blue or green. In this case, though, it looks like I'm able to get all of the cards I need. This process of picking 1 card and passing the rest continues for the rest of the draft until you've gone through all 15 cards from all 3 packs. During pack 2, you'll instead pass to the right and accept cards from the left, but other than that, the process remains the same. Once you get to pack 2, it's pretty much too late to switch if you're trying to switch colors. You can usually get away with switching 1 color, but really you should try and stick with the same thing. Eventually, you'll have all 45 of your cards. Most of these will have something to do with each other, which will really help. At pre-releases, they give you this handy little guide. You want 15 to 18 creatures, 5 to 8 spells, and then 17 lands. This is also the same formula you should follow in most drafts. You'll want to lay out all of your cards by mana value, by spells and creatures separated. From this point, you'll want to start making cuts. With 17 lands, that means you'll want 23 other cards. So look for some cards that don't really have anything to do with your other synergies, and remove those. Sometimes it's a card that you rare drafted, or sometimes it's a card that you just had to take. Once you've made all of your cuts, you should have 23 of the best cards that you drafted. All of these should have some sort of synergy or just be too powerful not to leave in, like the Watcher in the Water. Now it's time for some basic lands. Every game store has these, usually in a big box, and they're free to use throughout the draft as long as you return them when you're done. You can also use any lands that you drafted from packs. There are a lot of rare and uncommon powerful lands in Magic the Gathering, and a lot of these are fine to include in your deck. So here I've got some islands and some forests. A lot of people will give you ways to count how many of each land you should have, but really the best I've found is just do about a 50-50 split, then shuffle and see if it looks like you have too much of one color or the other, then adjust as needed. You can shuffle multiple times, no one's going to penalize you for it. Once you have the right number of basic lands, the matches begin. Each player will be matched against another, and you'll play with your decks against each other. Matches are usually best of 3, and every card that you drafted counts as your sideboard, even if it didn't end up making the final cut. After each round, you tell the local game store your results or enter them in on your phone, and then once they submit them, you'll be able to get matched for the second round. Your round 2 matches are based on the results of round 1. If you won 2 times and your opponent didn't win at all, you'll probably be matched with another good player. If you lost, you'll get matched by another person who lost, most of the time at least. Sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly, but usually you end up getting some pretty fair matches with a pretty good chance of winning. Depending on the number of players, you'll have to do different numbers of rounds to establish a clear top 8, or top 4, or top 2, depending on how your game store does it. In this case, with 16 players, I had to simulate 3 rounds. After 3 rounds, everyone had some wins and some losses, except for a few people had all wins or all losses. The nitpicking nerds lost every time, I'll tell you that. With this randomized simulation, we eventually got through 3 rounds. It's completely random, so no hate against any YouTubers that I put as 0 wins or 0 losses or anything. This is just completely random, 100%. With all of the wins and losses recorded, and a couple ties too. Ties can happen in these sort of events. If time runs out and no one's won, it's a tie. You don't keep playing. In the end, we have all of our rankings from 1 to 16. Now, depending on your event, they'll give out prize packs or some sort of reward to the top 8, top 4, top 2, top 1, or maybe there won't be any prize at all. The prize is how much fun you had.